When the weather starts warming up throughout the country, you know, you can have a lot of success fishing shallow cover, shallow banks, early in the morning, late in the evenings. But when that sun gets really high, right now it's about lunchtime, 1 o'clock, these bass will actually suck down off the bank a little bit and tuck real tight to cover. And one of the best ways to catch them that I've found is a big old jig. And when you're fishing these jigs, you know, in the warmer months, I like to use a half-ounce jig. That's about your baseline for weight selection. And you know, today this is especially clear water, and I've been seeing a lot of bluegill up on the bank. And so what that tells me is that I might need to try something like a green pumpkin red, watermelon red, something of that sort that can emulate both a crawfish and a brim. And one of the biggest mistakes that you can make, and I still make this mistake, you'll get impatient, you know, you don't get a bite for a little while, you start fishing too fast. And the easiest way to get hung up when you're fishing deep wood with a jig is to fish too fast. You'll get impatient, you're not paying attention to what that jig's down there doing. It can be important too to pay attention to the angle at which the sun is hitting these trees or any type of wood. So we've got the sun kind of over my left shoulder behind the camera. And so that tells me that the shadows of all of this wood cover are gonna lay to my right side. So you'll see me spend a little bit more time on these dark shadowy areas because they pretty much serve as strategic ambush points for bass. You know, they'll get up in that cover and they'll pretty much lay inactive for a few hours. But a strategically placed jig can often catch them. It can be a little bit misleading at times when you see a big old tree like standing timber in any fishery, big fishery, small fishery, because it makes, you know, it's tempting to think, well, okay, that's just pretty much a telephone pole in the water. But always make a couple casts to the outside of it, kind of skirt around, because this tree's had limbs that have fallen off and gotten rotten over the years. And I can see in this clear water right now, it's like it's a jungle. But if you don't pay attention to those things, you might be robbing yourself of some really good opportunities. A lot of people think when you're jig fishing that all the bites are gonna just try to knock the rod out of your hand. That's not always the case. You know, a lot of times it'll feel like a little tick, like a bluegill. A lot of times your line will get heavy when you're pulling it over a piece of cover. You'll feel something just pulling back. And then sometimes you won't feel anything. Your line will just be swimming. So it's important to be a line watcher, to train yourself to be a line watcher, because for some reason, some of the biggest bass you'll catch doing this, they bite like little rats. I don't know why, but you know, paying attention to small little changes in your line, direction, and tension can pay some big dividends.
Wow. Is that a fish? Woo! That's a pig. Oh! God. He was 7, wasn't he?
He's 8. You gonna have that. That hurts.
What are you feeling about what happened? You just lose an 8-pounder.
I just lost a deadgum 8-pounder. I don't know. Dude, I'm shaking. I'm reliving old memories. I can't quit casting at the same stump that I lost that stupid fish on. And you gotta be careful with that too. I mean, you will get hung up doing stuff like that, hung up mentally. I mean, I can't quit thinking about it. Like, I'm still kind of shaky. That was a huge fish, and I've probably made 20 casts at it so far. So, you know, you can't get down on yourself. Stuff like that's gonna happen more, you know, and that won't be the last time. It'll happen 100 more times, you know, the longer I fish, so.